Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. We're into college football week 8. We've got 3 games on Tuesday night. Let's talk about it. I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. All right, we'll start with Conference USA. Liberty's losing streak comes to an end. It ends at 4. Liberty lost 4 straight games, and what's even more alarming than that is the fact that all 4 losses were by double digits. But that's in the past now, because they picked up a road win, 19-8 over UTEP, and even that final score is a little misleading. Liberty dominated that game. UTEP scored a late touchdown and a 2-point conversion to give us that final score. Liberty dominated that game. Now, I'm not going to throw them a parade. UTEP is next level terrible, but at least the losing streak is over for Liberty. And speaking of coming off a win, let's give some credit to New Mexico State. 37-10 over Sam Houston State. Beat the hell out of Sam Houston State, who's also next level terrible. One thing we do want to shine some light on when we're talking about Liberty, we were just talking about the losing streak. 4 losses in a row, 4 double-digit losses in a row. It's important to point out that there's some key injuries here, specifically the quarterback position. They didn't have Ethan Vasco for 2 of these games. In the James Madison game, Ethan Vasco actually started the game. When he got hurt, the score, it was right before half. There was a minute to go in the second quarter. It was 10-10. Liberty had the ball around midfield, and Liberty was to get the ball at the third quarter. So they were actually kind of winning the game there against James Madison, and then Ethan Vasco got hurt. And then obviously James Madison kind of ran it up there in the second half against the backup quarterback. But they were actually playing James Madison tough. And then they went on the road to Old Dominion with a backup quarterback. Old Dominion's good as hell. So the point I'm making is this Liberty team looks bad. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, but the quarterback getting hurt is certainly making it look a lot worse than it is. And there's some good news for Liberty in this matchup. New Mexico State can't and doesn't run the ball. They don't, actually, on paper, this is the worst rushing attack in the country. 136th in success rate per rush, 136th in PPA per rush. That's very good news for Liberty because they've really struggled to stop the run. Remember, they're playing without their safety, Brylan Green. He's not going to play with this one. He's going to miss another game. He didn't play in the UTEP game either. So this is a Liberty defense that's vulnerable to the run. New Mexico State, not only do they not run the ball, but when they try to run the ball, they're terrible at it. So that's some good news for Liberty. New Mexico State's an offense that needs to throw the ball. They need Logan Fife to play well in order to even have a chance of competing. The offense didn't look all that great in their first 4 games. You can see Logan Fife's numbers in the first 4. Do want to give him some credit, though, because in week 6, which is their most recent game, he played really well. And they also got their star wide receiver back, TK King, and it was noticeable. He had 6 catches, 132 yards. So maybe getting their star wide receiver back gives Logan Fife an extra weapon to use. So let's give Logan Fife some credit. He played really well in the last game. That was at home against Sam Houston State, who's one of the worst defenses in the country. On the road against Liberty, who's been very good against the pass. I don't really like it as much. Now, we can't pretend that this Liberty defense hasn't been thrown on. They did get thrown on in a couple of games, weeks 4 and 5, James Madison and Old Dominion. Those are the 2 games with the backup quarterback. Also, James Madison and Old Dominion, both teams that are significantly better than New Mexico State. So if you look at Liberty's other 4 games, they played very strong defense against the pass. New Mexico State, maybe they're not as bad as I originally thought. Really don't trust them to move the ball here on the road against Liberty. This defense has been strong against the pass. They're a little vulnerable against the run. New Mexico State can't run the ball. Maybe Logan Fife with the wide receiver back from injury, maybe there's something there, but I don't think New Mexico State's going to be able to move the ball in this game. Now, on the other side of the ball, this is where this matchup gets interesting. Do we think Liberty's going to be able to run the ball in this game? I mean, you look at this graphic here. New Mexico State has been elite against the run so far this year. 15th in success rate per rush, 7th in PPA per rush. But to put it into context, if you look at their opponents, they haven't seen a single team that can run the ball yet. Sam Houston State, passing offense, terrible team. New Mexico can run the ball a little bit, but that's still a passing offense, and they threw the ball all over New Mexico State. Louisiana Tech passing offense, Tulsa passing offense, and Bryant is an FCS program. So they haven't seen a single offense that runs the ball yet. So let's give their defensive front a little bit of credit. They've played well against the run so far this year. I mean, they haven't seen a single team that can run it. And going on the road to Liberty, yes, this Liberty offense has looked terrible. I'm not trying to pretend that it hasn't. But remember, they've been injured. Ethan Vasco missed 2 of these games. Also, their RB1, Evan Dickens, has missed, what did he miss, the last 2 games. He might be back for this one. Also, their starting left tackle has missed the last 4 games, and he's back. So not only is Ethan Vasco back, but Liberty's offense might be healthier in this game than they have been for the last 4 weeks. I really don't think this New Mexico State defense is nearly as good as their numbers indicate. Yes, they played well against Sam Houston State, who looked terrible. But remember, they played that game without their linebacker, their leading tackler and captain there, Tyler Martinez. He's going to miss another game. They also lost a corner in that game, DeCarrick Hobbs. He's out as well. So they're missing 2 starters. I think Liberty's offense is finally going to look okay, and I think they win this game comfortably. So I see a 9.5. It would be Liberty minus 9.5 here. Let's head over to the Sun Belt Conference, where Arkansas State has finally won a football game, and it was a huge one over Texas State. If you remember last year, Arkansas State was right in the mix there in the Sun Belt West, and they took 2 back-breaking losses to the 2 teams they needed to beat, Texas State and Louisiana. So not only did they get revenge for last year's loss, but they honestly threw themselves right into the mix there of the Sun Belt West. Let's not forget this Arkansas State team, although it's looked pretty bad this year, they have gotten better every single year under Butch Jones. I mean, last year they were 8-5. Even last year was a little bit disappointing because they had high expectations, but they have gotten better every single year under Butch Jones. They started off this season 1-4, and everyone kind of wrote them off, and maybe they should have. But there's an SEC loss in there. They lost to Arkansas. They lost to Iowa State. These are games they're supposed to lose. They went on the road, lost to Kennesaw State. Man, Kennesaw State is playing pretty well right now. To me, I'm looking at this, the only bad loss on here is Louisiana Monroe. And honestly, they had beaten Louisiana Monroe 15 straight times, 15 in a row. They were bound to lose one eventually. The point I'm making is I'm looking at this graphic, and personally, I see one bad loss. So to pick up that huge home win against Texas State, they're right back in the mix here in the Sun Belt West. Keep in mind, they have Southern Miss and Troy on the schedule. So with Texas State starting out 0-2 in conference, Louisiana's a mess. They're down to their 2nd or 3rd string quarterback. They look nothing like last year. The Sun Belt West is wide open, and Arkansas State's right in the mix there. Now here's the problem. They're coming off that huge win against Texas State. Now they go on the road into a gauntlet because South Alabama is in a position where if they lose this game, their season's over. I can't even believe this team is 1-5. I mean, this is not a bad football team. That Coastal game was weird as hell. They had a comfortable lead and it somehow lost by 18. They were the better team in that game. Coastal's terrible. I don't know how they lost that game. And then they went on the road to Troy, who's one of the toughest teams in the Sun Belt this year. Played them. They went to overtime. They lost in overtime in that game. So this South Alabama team is 1-5. They are not that bad, and they're in a position where if they lose this game, their season's over. So this is a really tough spot for Arkansas State. They're going on the road to play South Alabama, whose back is against the wall right now. Now, South Alabama's defense has really struggled against the run. Their defensive front's really struggled. They also might be missing both safeties in this game. Ty Goodwill is one of their starters. He missed the last couple, and he's been ruled out. So they're definitely going to be missing one safety. Their other safety is Wesley Miller. He got injured in week 5. I think Wesley Miller is going to play, though. He's listed as questionable. I think he's going to play. He was questionable last week and ended up playing. The point I'm making here is this might not be a bad matchup for South Alabama. They've really struggled against the run, but Arkansas State is not a rushing offense. This is an offense that's centered around their quarterback, Jalen Rayner. They haven't had much of a rushing attack at all, and Arkansas State's dealing with injuries of their own, specifically on the offensive line. Their starting right tackle, Alaric Watson, he missed last game. He's listed as questionable. Their starting center, Mason Myers, he also missed last game. There's also a 3rd injury on the offensive line, so they've got an offensive line who's banged up. This is also a team that doesn't run the ball much, and when they try to run it, it's not effective. Their RB has 200 rushing yards. Jalen Rayner, the quarterback, has 196. So this is not a team that has a rushing attack that scares you at all. If Arkansas State wants to have any chance of competing in this game, they're going to need Jalen Rayner to go complete hero mode. And in those 2 road losses to Kennesaw State and Louisiana Monroe, he really didn't do that. I mean, these numbers don't look great. 79.6 QB rating. South Alabama's defense isn't good, but I mean, neither is Kennesaw State's, neither is Louisiana Monroe. If they want to compete in this game, he's going to have to be essentially perfect at quarterback. The reason he's going to need to be perfect is I don't know how Arkansas State's defense, we're flipping it over to the other side of the field now. I don't know how Arkansas State's defense gets off the field here. South Alabama may be having themselves a little bit of a rough start to the season, but they can definitely run the ball. And this is a run-first offense all the way. They're 12th in the country in run frequency. They're 62nd in success rate per rush, 41st in PPA per rush. And Arkansas State cannot stop the run at all. I mean, they can't stop anything. This defense has looked pretty terrible. Look at their last 3 games. I took out the Arkansas and Iowa State games because that's a little unfair to look at their numbers against Power 4 opponents. But look at their last 3 games. Kennesaw, that's not even a rushing offense. That's a passing offense. That's a unique offense. That's not a downhill rushing offense. Louisiana Monroe runs the ball. Texas State, I mean, they're allowing almost 5.7 yards per carry, 46% success rate per rush. They've also got a key injury on the defensive side of the ball. Their main middle linebacker there, Terry Kirksey Jr., he's been out the last 3 games, and it doesn't look like he's returning, and it's been noticeable. So I don't know how Arkansas State's defense gets off the field. This South Alabama offense has been consistently running the ball all season. I mean, they ran the ball on Tulane. Outside of the Auburn game, they weren't able to run the ball on the road at Auburn. Okay. Other than that, they ran the ball on everybody. Look at their last 3 games. Over 230 rushing yards per game, 4.77 yards per carry. So South Alabama is going to hand the ball off here, and there's not a damn thing Arkansas State could do about it. South Alabama is going to completely control this game on the ground. The only way Arkansas State can compete in this game is if Jalen Raynor is essentially perfect at the quarterback position, because they're not going to be able to stop South Alabama on the ground. So, look, Jalen Raynor's capable of it. He's a very talented kid. He was 2023. He was the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year. So they've got themselves a quarterback, but he's going to have to be excellent. I think South Alabama is going to make a statement here and win comfortably. Wouldn't mind an over either. I would need a flat 7 or like a 6.5 to actually bet it, but South Alabama minus 7.5, over 58.5 for me. FIU Western Kentucky. Look, I like Keon Jenkins. I like this FIU offense, but I mean, I got to say, this is a really tough matchup. Western Kentucky's been very strong against the pass this year. 21st in success rate per dropback, 24th in PPA per dropback. This is an FIU offense that needs Jenkins to be throwing the ball. Jenkins is the key to this offense. And if you don't believe me, look at the score to last week's game. They played without Jenkins at quarterback. They lost 51-10 to UConn, whose defense doesn't even look good this year. So they need Keon Jenkins to throw the ball to have a chance. And he can. Keon Jenkins is good. He's not a scrambler. He's only 6 foot tall, so you would think like he's a scrambler, he's an athlete. Not really. He's a pocket passer. And on the road against Western Kentucky, this year's Western Kentucky team, I mean, we know what we're going to get from Western Kentucky under Tyson Helton. He's been there for, I want to say like 6 or 7 years now. We know the offense is going to score points. We know they're going to throw the ball. We know what we're going to get on that side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, we've seen some bad Western Kentucky defenses. This team has a pass rush this year, and we're seeing them be completely disruptive up front. This is a really bad matchup for FIU because Jenkins has really struggled under pressure so far this year, and this Western Kentucky pass rush might be a nightmare for them. They're also completely healthy on the defensive side, Western Kentucky is, which this deep into a football season is huge. So, yeah, I don't like the matchup for FIU. I like Jenkins. He can throw the ball, but he's probably going to be under a lot of pressure in this game. On the other side of the ball, this Western Kentucky offense is going to put up points because this Western Kentucky offense always puts up points. This is always one of the most powerful offenses in the conference. As far as the defense goes, this is the toughest spot to go in Conference USA to make stops. They're 34th in success rate per dropback, 42nd in PPA per dropback so far this year. Looks like Maverick McIver is starting to get comfortable as well. A little bit of a shaky start to his tenure at Western Kentucky, but the last 2 games, both on the road, both conference games, look really comfortable in both of them. Looks to be seeing the field better. FIU hasn't had much of a pass rush so far this year. They don't really blitz much either. Maverick McIver has been excellent from a clean pocket. Yeah, Western Kentucky's going to score points. FIU's defense has actually played better than expectations, but going on the road and stopping this passing attack is tough. So, yeah, I think Western Kentucky should put up a big number in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if Jenkins is able to complete some passes and maybe get FIU into the end zone a couple times. Jenkins is going to play this, by the way. He's dealing with an ankle injury, but I'm reading he's probably going to play. I wouldn't be surprised if FIU is able to score a couple touchdowns, but I expect Western Kentucky to be in the mid-30s at least when it comes to the final score. So, It'd be Western Kentucky minus 9.5 here for me. Thanks for watching. Live shows at midnight Eastern time as always. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves another good week. 3 winning weeks in a row. Hopefully the positivity continues. It also could mean we're due for a bad one though. Remember to bet responsibly. Talk to y'all tomorrow.